Hi, I'm Tiger Chainsaw, and this is an old ass. And this is a retro gamer, and you're watching the Old Ass Retro Gamer.
What is up, everybody? Chris, the Old Ass Retro Gamer here. Welcome to part 2 of my Microsoft Xbox Video Game Collection Livestream 2023. Part 2. Dose. Sorry I was not here last week. Work ran very late, so I had to cancel. Ended up not getting home till probably 10 p.m. So, yeah, that would have been way too late to stream. Plus, I was beyond exhausted. So, yeah, that didn't happen. But I'm back this week. Didn't have enough time to shave the dome, so I'm done in the MK hat once more, which I never can seem to get straight on my freaking noggin. But whatevs. Okay, so more video games. They have to. I got the OT. So there are more video games that will be bought. Oh, yes, there will be. So let's get back to it. So the last game I talked about 2 weeks ago was Forgotten Realms Demon Stone, which was the dungeon crawler that's connected to D&D, which I love. So get back into it with pretty heavy hitter, which I bought for, it was expensive, but it wasn't like, oh my God, like I have to go to the sperm bank in order to afford this kind of thing. I got it off of Amazon. It was, honestly, I think I would probably say it was like retail price what I paid for it, but now it's going for a lot. And that is Futurama. It's a third-person action adventure that is like a lost episode of the show, and it is pretty cool. I haven't spent a whole lot of time playing it, but it has all the voice actors from Futurama, and it is pretty funny. I do like the sense of humor. I don't understand why this ended up becoming one of those games that is like super sought after and hard to come by. Was it a late release type of game? I'm not sure. Most likely, or maybe because it was a licensed game, it just didn't get a big print run or whatever. But I got it. And I found it, like I said, pretty inexpensive compared to what it goes for normally. I have not either. I'm not Robert Rodriguez. I have not donated my body to science so I can make my feature film debut. At least, not yet. Actually, drinking tonight. Got some orange Fanta with whipped cream vodka. It is like drinking an alcoholic creamsicle. It is delicious. Anyway, next up we have Fusion Frenzy, which is an Xbox. It's like Legos, but different. It's an Xbox exclusive that was also, I do believe, a launch title, and this one was one of those games that was all about the multiplayer, since that was one of the Xbox's strengths, or the things they were like using to sell it. Was it's a massive like local multiplayer console, and never played this one back in the day until went to Mo Game Con last summer, which I will be returning to next month. And Peter popped this in. Peter Bateman, Waves and Games. And he popped this in for a little while, and we played it. And I was like, yeah, it feels like a launch game. The controls are kind of jank. Some of the mini games that you're playing through are not that great. But, it was fun to be playing with other people. If I was playing this by myself, it would probably suck the ass. But with other people, when you're drinking or, just being rowdy or just having a good old time, it's not that bad, but definitely better party games out there. And I do believe it got a sequel on the 360. Here is a remake of a classic PlayStation 2 game. I thought it was kind of strange that they did this, but they also did this on the Xbox. They did it twice. So we got Genma Onimusha, which is a remake of the first Onimusha that was available on the PlayStation 2. This one is like a graphical upgrade, since the Xbox can do HD, and it is also kind of a remix, I guess. Like things are just slightly changed, but it is the same exact game, which means it is a samurai Resident Evil survival horror style game. And it is pretty rad. I have not played through all of the originals, but I wanted to have this to complete like the subset, since I do enjoy this franchise. So I do have all of the games in the series, which is, no, actually I take that back. I do not. I do not have Onimusha Tactics. I totally flaked on that. I should probably look for that at Mo Game Con. Note taking. Here is a 3D action game that is Gladiator Sword of Vengeance. I found this at a Half Price Books while I was out with some friends. Didn't really know anything about it. I think this was a multiplat. I do believe. Yeah, it does not have the exclusive tag at the top. And it looked okay, but it's by Acclaim. And, when they weren't doing licensed games, their standalone stuff was still kind of sus, maybe a little jank. But it looks fun, and I only tried it out to make sure that the game worked to see if I had to return it or not. But it was okay, but I couldn't tell you if it was good or not. I do recall this not getting the best reviews when it was released in the magazines and whatnot. But I don't care. When you pay $3 for something, quality, doesn't really matter. This, on the other hand, is a port of a GameCube game. Definitely needed the port because the GameCube version was fun, but graphically kind of What's up, Retro Coop? And I was super thrilled that they brought this over to the Xbox, and that is Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. So this is a port of the GameCube Godzilla game, and definitely got a graphical upgrade. play control is slightly better because of the the Xbox controller, just the way it's laid out. And it's super fun. It's just a 3D beat 'em up where you're basically playing as Godzilla or any of the other monsters from the films, just smacking the shit out of each other in the middle of a city. You can actually pick up buildings and smack them into each other and all that. And it has like a good amount of the enemies or the villains that Godzilla has fought over the years in the original Japanese films. And I'm a huge Godzilla fan, so I was super thrilled, especially the fact that Orga is in here. Orga was from Godzilla 2000, which was the first Godzilla movie that I ever saw. I take that back. First Godzilla movie that I actually sat through and enjoyed, because back in the day I didn't care. And every time someone put a Godzilla movie on, I'd like tune out because there wasn't enough Godzilla in it. But as an adult, I'm like, okay, I see why. But it's super fun. Great beat 'em up. There are a bunch of games in this series, and all of them are pretty fun. Why do I do these videos? Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Mondane, because I should probably talk about that. Why do I do these videos? Well, one, it's good content for the channel. Number two, it's fun. Number three, I get to talk to awesome people. And four, it's good to have a visual log of your collection in case something bad happens. And five, because I think it annoys the hell out of Mondane. So, yeah. And you have to excuse me if you can hear all the noises coming from outside. My exterior stairs are being repaired right now because one of my friends almost tripped and fell down them because they're starting to fall apart. So here we go with the Rare. How dare you? I knew that would get you. Might be drunk by the end of this stream. Microsoft bought Rare pretty early on in the Xbox's life cycle, to pretty much everyone's dismay. Mine especially, because once they bought them, they really didn't do much with them and had them make like shovelware crap, kind of like this, kind of like Viva Pinata and all that. But we're talking Grabbed by the Ghoulies. I do believe this was the first big game that Rare made once they were purchased by Microsoft. And I think the next one was probably Conquer Live and Reloaded. But it's okay. It's a 3D version of, I would say, like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. It's all right. It's kind of cartoony and silly and tongue-in-cheek. But it definitely does not have that typical Rare charm. It feels like something that was just kind of like mass-produced. The thing I always liked about Rare was, number one, the music was always fantastic. Peter over there, Waves and Games, knows all about that. And the music was always great. The games always had something kind of quirky about them, like Snake Rattle and Roll, even Battletoads. But like there was just something different about them that made them really likable, and they had like personality. This is kind of missing that, which kind of bummed me out. And I was like, well, I guess Rare's on the down slope now. And they continued outside of maybe doing, I guess, Perfect Dark Zero was okay, but for the most part, Anyway, yeah, like I said, it's like a 3D version of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but it's just not nearly as rad as that. It's not bad. It's not great, but, it could have been a hell of a lot better. What's up, Davey? What's going on? Glad everybody's here. Whoop, whoop. I got to get a special box for this one. So I remembered back in the day that that Rockstar had released this, and I don't recall if I had this or not when the Xbox was first. No, I think I did. I might have. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I don't recall buying this back in the day, now that I think about it. So, whatever. That is this Grand Theft Auto double pack that comes with Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City. And the thing about this is, because the Xbox can do HD, these got kind of a little graphical, upping, or what do you want to call it? Upgrade? Is the alcohol really hitting that fast? I don't think so. Probably because I'm tired. But yeah, the first two 3D Grand Theft Auto games together in one pack. And here they are together. And they have interesting package art because mostly you're supposed to be displaying it in this fancy-ass thing that opens up, actually, which has the original box art that was on the PlayStation 2 versions of this game. But the interior is pretty simplistic. And on the back, it just has like some character shots, which is cool. I mean, I like the minimalist approach, you know, to set it apart from the PlayStation 2 versions. But the games themselves are unchanged other than like a little bit of a graphical upgrade. And that's about it. I do enjoy these games quite a bit. I've never beaten either of these. I've gotten pretty far. Grand Theft Auto 3, I don't know why, but like something about it just kind of bugged me when I was playing it. I don't know if it was because the new change in perspective, but I didn't like the original perspective from the original 2 games, well, 2.5 games, since they had that spin-off one too, where it was like the top-down Grand Theft Auto games. I hated those. But like, I don't know if it was just something about this. Maybe it was just the fact that it was like the first game in this style. And it felt kind of janky to me, and I was just like, nah, not right. But then Vice City I did like quite a bit. Never beat it, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. I need to go back and like play through all of these games now that well, I can't because my Xbox is Kaputski unless I can play these in my Xbox One. We shall see. But then there's the third game in 3D land, and that is San Andreas. This is the one that everybody seems to either really like or really dislike. Vice City seems to be the preferred favorite. But this one, I understand, like, expanded everything. I never beat this one either. This one has a lot of extra stuff in it. Like, I lucked out when I got this copy. I don't remember where I found it. I think it was Half Price Books. But it even still comes with, like, the postcard in there with the advertisements for the Bully and the Warriors, both of which are ripoffs of this game, just with different licenses over them. And you got the manual. And we've also got, like, this fold-out poster/map. That's all about the boobies and the tongue. She wants to lick your boobies. I don't know. And like a map of San Andreas on the back, which is pretty awesome. The only one I can say that I've played almost to completion is Part 5, the story mode. I got kind of bored with it after a while, and like I didn't really know when I was supposed to like switch back and forth between the characters. So I kind of like gave up on it, but I still have it installed on my PS4, so I mean, I did intend to go back to it. Just like I just got my PS4. It was one of the first games I bought for my PS4 back then. And I was like, oh, I got all these other games I got to play. Let's go and play something else real quick. Pretty cool. You can make a custom soundtrack. Put some MP3s. Yeah, I remember doing that with Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, and one of the WWE wrestling games. For the Xbox. I remember me and my friends did that. We had our own like custom entrance music. Better load times and higher res models for Xbox. Yeah, I remember the graphics being upgraded. Next up is a licensed game that I found at my new local retro place. It's The Great Escape. Why anybody thought, like, let's take a movie from like the 60s and turn it into a video game. You know, it's a Steve McQueen movie. You know, the kids these days are going to love this license. No. Nobody gave a crap about this, and I remember nobody bought it. And I got this dirt cheap. I think I paid like $8 for it, but it's like a 3D Metal Gear Solid style stealth game about you trying to escape a concentration camp in World War II. Just like in the movie. It's all right. It's just, I wanted that because of all the movies to license, let's do The Great Escape. Then again, I'm sure people said that about the Warriors, and the Warriors ended up being a fantastic game. I do believe Metal Jesus talked about this in one of his Hidden Gems videos or something. I know somebody did, and I didn't really think about it for a while, and then I found it randomly at my new local store. That is Gunmetal from Mech to Jet and Back. It is like a Transformers style game. Mech turned into a jet. Oh, it's almost like Macross. Haven't really played it. I tried it out to make sure it worked when I got it home, and then that was pretty much it. But it looked kind of cool. Plus, I love Transformers, so I said, why the hell not? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry had The Great Escape. Mm-hmm. Here's one of the Sega. See, I always thought it was funny that I talked about it in the first Xbox live stream from 2 weeks ago that, the Xbox came about because of Microsoft working with Sega on the Dreamcast. They did the operating system for that. They helped them develop it just a little bit. And like everything that Microsoft learned from working on the Dreamcast is what they used to make the Xbox. And, the PlayStation and the Xbox and the GameCube kind of killed the Dreamcast. And, Sega ended up bowing out of the console race and just decided to become a third-party game developer. But you would think that they'd be like, F you, we're going to make games for the Nintendo and the PlayStation only because Xbox, Microsoft kind of screwed them because when the dude who ran Sega of America asked Bill Gates for some money for a loan to keep the Dreamcast available for another year, they gave the Sega of America guy the finger. But you would think that they'd be like, no, we're not going to develop games for your stupid console that, helped demolish ours. But they did. Sega developed games for the Dreamcast. Sorry. Of course they did. Sega developed games for the Xbox. Gun Valkyrie. I was going to put this in my Diamonds in the Rough for the Xbox because I thought this game was pretty awesome. But for some reason, whenever I would capture the footage would come out all janky looking and jittery. And I don't know if it was a frame rate thing because the game looked fine when I was playing it. But when it would record to the memory card, it would come out just looking absolutely craptastic. So I was like, no, I'll just pivot to something else. But it is a third-person action sci-fi adventure, game where you're playing as this chick who can fly, and it's kind of like if you ever take Devil May Cry and mix it with Zone of the Enders and put an anime chick in there, and it is pretty cool. I like it a lot. I mean, to the point where I wanted to put it in that video because I didn't see anybody talking about this online. So I highly recommend it. Super, super fun. I need to spend more time playing it. Burning Rangers on the Saturn. Same engine. Oh, really? Well, they definitely improved it in the time between that game and Gun Valkyrie. The graphics, too. This is the game that got delisted, banned. And I really had no interest in playing this when it first came out until the controversy hit. And I remember I was at lunch at work, and they always played CNN on the TVs in the cafeteria, and I saw a report on it, and I was like, oh, after work, I'm going to go and see if I can get a copy of this before it gets pulled off the shelves. And I got the last copy at the EB Games that I used to go to with my buddy Justin on lunch breaks. That was by our local Chipotle. And that's the guy game. So the big thing about this is it's they're playing a trivia game. There's some mini games and stuff in there, but it's a bunch of young girls on spring break who were roped into doing this trivia game thing. And if they lose, they had to show off their breasts. Turns out one girl in here lied about her age and was actually underage, and they put her in the game, and the game got banned. So I ran out and picked it up. I have not popped this in my my Xbox since I bought it. I mean, I played it when I rented it. It first came out. I rented it from Blockbuster, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, it's got boobies in it. Cool, whatevs. I've seen them a lot, so no big deal. Never wanted to own a copy of it until the big controversy thing came out, and I was just like, it'd be cool to have as a collectible. So I bought it, and I have not played it since. But yeah, it's got boobies in it. Yay. And whoever that dude is on the front, he's a scumbag. It's illegal to own that game in Alabama. Came out within a month of each other. Damn. I have Leisure Suit Larry. I don't have the Playboy game. Here's an awesome game. I've played this version, but I never beat it. I beat this game on the 360 in a different compilation. But we're talking Half-Life 2. We got a port of Half-Life. Well, we almost got a port of Half-Life to the Dreamcast. It was done, but the Dreamcast went kaput before they could release it. but I do have a copy of it physical for my Dreamcast now, thanks to interwebs. And then they got a port to the PS2, and part 2 got a port to the Xbox because only the Xbox would be able to handle this. But for awesome first-person shooter that is very story-oriented, a lot of really cool weapons. I love the gravity gun in this. I think it is the coolest invention for a first-person shooter ever. But it is super rad and immersive. I love it. And it is was ahead of its time. I actually got into fights, like screaming typing screaming matches on what was it, the Force.net forums when I released my first fan film, my first Star Wars fan film on the Force.net. I had like a thread going on my movie or my short on their chat room, in their little forum. And we were talking about video games and stuff in it. And I was talking about how I was playing Halo, and some guys like F Halo. World of Warcraft is the game. And I was like, nah. And then some other guys like F Halo. Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 1. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. At that point in time, it was probably 2. Is the best first-person shooter ever made. And it was just this argument going back and forth and back and forth. And in the end, I was just like, can we start talking about Star Wars again? Because that was what the intention of this thread was. Please. Next up we have, and I do believe Mondane was asking about this before, but we've got the Halos. I was just talking about Halo Combat Evolved. This is the Game of the Year edition. I'm not sure what is different about this one compared to the original version of it that I had back in the day. Doesn't really say. Maybe it's because now it has like a foil packaging. It's metallic reflective or whatever. Or it's just a rebranding where they just put the Game of the Year sticker on it and it's the exact same thing. I don't know. But I absolutely love, this was the game that got me to buy an Xbox. I had zero interest, like I talked about in the first stream 2 weeks ago. But going over to two friends' houses within a week of each other and playing local multiplayer with Halo I was like, okay, I need this. I absolutely need this. Not only is it super fun to play multiplayer with your friends, but just the single player alone was pretty awesome. So absolutely had to get this. This is one of the first. I bought this and Buffy the Vampire Slayer at the same time and played the crap out of them both. And then, of course, because that was not only the system seller, but it was the hottest selling game for that console. Of course, Bungie made a sequel. And I know a lot of people love this one. I thought this was a step down from the original because I thought it was a little, I don't know if it was just rushed, but it felt janky. The cutscenes would have pop in. You'd see the person sitting there talking and then all of a sudden the background would pop in. It was just it felt really rushed. And I did not like playing as the Arbiter. I like the fact that you're playing as Master Chief. I just wanted to play as Master Chief. Yeah, I think it's cool that they wanted you to see the other side of the war from the Covenant side, but I didn't care. I just did not like playing as the Arbiter. I just wanted to play as Master Chief, so that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But it's still a good game. The multiplayer, absolutely fantastic. This was the one where all of my friends were coming over. We had 8-person LAN parties at my house. It was fantastic, super, super fun. This one was online enabled, one of the first games that I ever played online, and had a blast for a little while. After I played it maybe 5 times, and it just I don't know if people were modding their consoles or what, but I was just getting absolutely annihilated in ridiculous ways. So I was like, I'm done. And it kind of started my hatred of playing these types of competitive first-person shooter style games like Call of Duty and all that online. But really awesome. But Mondane wanted to know if I had the multiplayer map pack for Halo 2, which since this was online enabled, if you had Xbox Live, you could download extra multiplayer stages and stuff like that to your console. But if you didn't have an internet connection, you could just buy those in this multiplayer map pack. Because Halo 2 is no longer online, it's an ancient-ass game, this is kind of required now. So DLC on physical media, awesomeness. And all it really is a bunch of multiplayer maps for multiplayer. So absolutely necessary. And I still am trying to get nine all new maps plus some bonus features. I'm still like I was talking about it during COVID with a bunch of friends that I was like, I would love for everyone that would come over to my parents' house and we play like these 8-player LAN battles that we do it again. And I got a lot of people interested, and I would still love to absolutely do that. Don't think I've ever seen a Game of the Year copy. Wait, Halo 2 had the map pack. No, Halo is written. What was it? Halo is when they really lean to the multiplayer, and you could tell in the single player. Yeah, 2 weeks before release date because Walmart broke street date. I played so much Halo 2 online that I missed class. See, me, that was Mortal Kombat 2. It also has the making of documentary. You can still play all the Halo games on X-Link. Oh, I've never even heard of that. So, me and the licensed games, one of the things I've been kind of getting into is getting all the games in this franchise, because I hear they're not actually too bad. I was not interested when these movies were all coming out, because I assumed they're just going to be like all these little kiddie-style games, stuff that you would see on the N64. Like, oh, they're just going to be all these stupid little collectathon games like Banjo-Tooie and, Donkey Kong 64 and that kind of thing. But it turns out there are actually some pretty decent games. So now I'm on the lookout to get all of the ones that are available, like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And I got this at my new local shop. You can see I was trying to tear the label off, but it wasn't completely successful. It's actually still taped. So the way the guy at the store deals with shit is he doesn't have the discs behind the counter like most places do. He just tapes the box shut so you can't steal the game out, but doesn't stop you from actually just walking out with the whole freaking thing. But it's a little conspicuous when you got an entire DVD-sized case that you're carrying around with you. But he'll let you know if there's no manual in it he discounts the game by about 10% if there's no manual in here. But I have not tried this one yet. Like I said, it was still sealed. But I'm super happy to have this one because this is probably my second favorite movie in the series. And it looks like a pretty cool 3D action game. So, yay. And that also has to include Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup. When I got into the Harry Potter game collecting, to try to complete a subset, I knew I had to have this one, but I wasn't really excited about this one at all because I was like, Quidditch, yay, sports game. Fantasy sports, but sports game. And like I tried it out and it's okay. You can play as, I think you can play every position if I do remember. Yeah, I do believe you can play as any position, but you're not limited to playing as the Seeker. So, but I didn't play it very, very long. But I mean, it's okay. It works. It could have been just a complete catastrophe, just like zooming around so fast you have no reaction time to anything that's going on. But, whatever. Goof off is a wonderful chemical. Oh, I know. I still have that. I'm too lazy. You can beat it in one sitting. Really? I was having maybe I should just adjust the controls or something because I remember having like a hard time like getting my character to move around. Can you play as all the different positions or are you just limited to playing as a Seeker? Because if I remember correctly, they give you the choice. But it's been a while, so it's kind of vague, and I only played it the one time. Next up, we have Heroes of the Pacific, which is an aerial dogfight game, which I absolutely love because Wing Commander is one of my favorite things in the world. This one is kind of psychotic. This one, like graphically, is pretty intense. Looked like it was way beyond what the original Xbox could do, and you can see just how much I paid for it at a Goodwill. So, absolutely thrilled about this. I need to sit down and start playing these again because I have so many games in this genre, and I never think to play them. I always go for another action game or something like that. I need to start playing more of those. Yeah, maybe you do. Yeah, it's been, like I said, it's been a while. It didn't leave that much of an impression, to be honest. Now we've got The Hobbit. Picked this one up because Musty Hobbit, name, who I wish would at least come back and start talking to people again. That would be awesome. Was streaming this one night because he's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. He's a huge Tolkien fan. So there was a point where he was like, I've got a goal. I want to get all of the Tolkien, video games that are out there, even if it's a repeat on another console. He wanted a copy of every game that's available, for consoles, no matter if like 3 copies of The Hobbit or whatever. He was streaming this one on his Twitch channel, and I was watching, and I was like, back in the day, I thought this looked like a little kid's game, but watching him play it, I was like, yeah, it's a little basic and like obviously kind of simple, but it actually looked kind of fun, and it is kind of a collectathon kind of thing. But I was enjoying I was having fun watching him play, and I was like, if it's that much fun, if I sit down and play it, I'm okay. So yeah, it's a decent 3D third-person action adventure game platformer, and I remember what I saw being pretty cool, so I went and picked up a copy. The Secret Weapon series is a good dogfight series. I do have some of those. I do indeed. Shitty movie, but the game is not too bad. And that is Hulk. Not the Hulk or the Incredible Hulk, just Hulk. I was not a big fan of the movie because we did not need a philosophical, pretentious Hulk movie when all that Hulk is known for is smash. I did not need a thoughtful Hulk film. I needed a Hulk go and destroy everything in sight Hulk thing, which we basically got with the Incredible Hulk. But this one was like complete wrong direction to take with this character. But the game itself, while it does kind of follow the plot of the movie and more, like they have to fill out the game, so there's more plot points and enemies involved. This one is exactly what the movie should have been. It should have just been Hulk smash, Hulk throw thing, Hulk kill everyone. And it's not too bad. Like 3D action beat 'em up. Sure, better than the movie it's based on. Hells to the yeah. I need to find the other game in this series, the second one, and that is Hunter: The Reckoning. This was not a launch game, but it was pretty close to launch, if I remember correctly, like at least within the first 6 months. And this is a dungeon crawler, one of the first ones I ever played, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty awesome. Me and my friends played it quite a bit because it's horror themed. It's like you're taking on vampires and zombies and monsters and whatever. It wasn't really fantasy. It was like horror. And the thing was, I was working like I said, when I bought my Xbox, I was deep in pre-production. I was like a month away from starting to film my first Star Wars fan film. So I had lined up a group of early 20-somethings that had just graduated from art school who like their specialty was 3D modeling and that kind of stuff, 3D art. And they were going to do the special effects for the film. They were going to do the lightsaber rotoscoping. They're going to do any spaceship, anything that required that I could not film with a camera. They were going to do that on their own. And I remember I went over to watch some of the footage that they had made for, I think it was the city flyby thing, the city fly through the scene. And one of the people in the group, there was like 4 guys in the little group. One of them was playing this in the family room, and next to that was the computer room where I was watching everything. And I walked out and I was like, yeah, dude, I really enjoyed this game. And the guy that I was talking to in the computer room goes, that game is the worst design game ever made. I could design something better than that on my computer right here. And I was like, I'd like to see you try. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And yes, I am aware that it's part of World of Darkness. Yeah, my friends and I played this a lot. It was pretty fun. I need to get the sequels at Wayward, I do believe. And we had that Hulk game based on the movie, but then there was the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, and this is what a Hulk game, this is what the Hulk movie should have been. It is just like everything is freaking destructible in this. Like just touch it and it falls down, explodes, crumbles, whatever. Lots of enemies from the comic books. It is super, super fun. I absolutely loved it. So I didn't play this until I got back into collecting. And I remember I found this at Half Price Books, obviously, and brought it home. And I was like, I remember there was one Hulk game for this generation that everyone used to tell me was like a quote unquote hidden gem. I hate that freaking term. But that was like the one nobody was giving any attention to, but it's super fun. And I could not remember if it was the one based on the movie, this one, and I don't know if there was another one somewhere. Turned out it was this one. And I bought it like randomly, going like, I hope it's this one. I brought it home and I played it for like, I don't know, an hour. And I was like, yes, yes. Yes, Ultimate Destruction. Had to pick this one up because license. Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. I still need to get that one that's available on the Nintendo 64, even though I do believe it's kind of expensive. But I love a good Indiana Jones game when they're good. Like Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures on the Super Nintendo is one of my favorite like licensed games out there. This one's kind of cool. It's like a 3D action adventure. It's definitely taking inspiration from Tomb Raider because Tomb Raider took inspiration from Indiana Jones. So they're like, we're going to copy you right back, bitch. But if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've played it. The story was pretty interesting. I do remember the whip mechanics were kind of weird, but I mean, it was fun. It's not great, but it's playable and it's entertaining, and it definitely has that Indiana Jones flavor. Like it feels like Indiana Jones. So that's basically all you could really ask for. And it's not bad. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. But I love my compilations, and this was a console I never owned back in the day. A kid that I knew from grade school was honestly the only person I can think of off the bat that had this. I had an Atari. I think everybody I knew had an Atari, except for my buddy Sean. He had the Intellivision, and then Tracy, who lived down my street, had the ColecoVision. So if I ever wanted to play them, I had to go over to their house. So when I got Intellivision Lives, this is the first time I've played an Intellivision. Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. This is the first time I played an Intellivision since probably 1982, or anything Intellivision related since like 1982. And that's that's a long time. But yeah, this has 60 Intellivision, over 60 Intellivision games on it. It does not have the Tron ones on there. That's Disney that have to license that crap. But it has Armor, like I cannot read this. It is so dark in here. Armor Battle, Backgammon, Basketball, Las Vegas, Poker, and Blackjack, which I actually have a physical version of over here. Shark. Oh my God. Alexa, desk white. Alexa, desk white. She's being a pain in my butt. Then I like this color because then I look like a tomato. But I can see now, sort of. Thin Ice, Utopia, Vectron, Skiing, Snafu, Space Armada, Space Battle, Space Hawk, Space Spartans. 60 Intellivision games. Basically glorified Atari 2600. I have to have this lamp set to yellow in order to like balance everything out, and that makes it so I really can't see. But I do recall the emulation being pretty cool, even though your controller, your Xbox controller, is not laid out like an Intellivision controller, which looked like the numerical pad from a dial or a dial tone telephone from back in the day. So some of the controls are lost. I do believe there was a menu you can bring up that would bring the controller up on screen. You can hit the different buttons, but if you need to do something fast, it's not there. But it's okay. The emulation is pretty decent, so yeah. Only way I'm going to be able to play Intellivision games until someone like Hyperkin gets off their butt and makes like an all-encompassing early 80s console that plays Atari 2600, Atari 5200, Atari 7800, Intellivision and ColecoVision and all that. You know, I can't play anything except on that. She's great. She is the most helpful thing ever. Italian Job. Obviously had to have this license game because I'm a real big fan of the movie, and this one is based off the one from the mid-2000s that had Mark Wahlberg and Charlize Theron and Jason Statham in it. And it is basically just racing around in Mini Coopers. Because basically that movie was made to advertise Mini Coopers. But it's actually a pretty fun movie, if you ask me. I really enjoy it. I actually have a 4K of it. So it's not the greatest thing ever. It is kind of like Burnout, I guess, with Mini Coopers, but not as fun as Burnout by a long shot. But, you know, a racing game, whatever. It's fine. Definitely enjoyed this. We got Jade Empire. This is the limited edition. And I do believe this has an exclusive character and fighting style you can only get here. The making of Jade Empire on the second disc. And demos for Forza Motorsport, Conquer, Live and Reloaded, and Mech Assault 2. This is by BioWare, right after they did Knights of the Old Republic, which is awesome, and I still need to sit through and play. I think this was like an extra 10 or 15 bucks over the original retail price of the standard edition. And like I said, this comes with 2 discs. One is the game itself. That is the bonus content disc. I'm sorry. And the game disc. And it's an RPG, kind of like Knights of the Old Republic, except this one is martial arts themed. And I love me some martial arts. This game is super freaking fun. Another one that I still need. Maybe I'll put this on my list and play this year as an RPG. Because I'm really starting to lag behind. Like, I just beat Jedi Survivor, not for lack of trying. I know I've been playing it for a while, but I was having so much fun playing it. I didn't want it to end, so I started going around looking for all the collectibles and stuff like that. I spent more time playing Jedi Survivor looking for the collectibles than playing the story mode. That's how much fun I was having playing it. And I was like, the intention of possibly platinum it, but today it's too janky and like there's like it's glitchy as hell, and I can't get the bounty system to work, or at least reliably. So like I can't 100% it. I'm just not going to sit around playing this because I've gotten everything that it's available. So I'm going to move on to something else. Maybe I'll play some Jade Empire. It's awesome. 3 times in a row one day. I love it. I think it's super fun. Another licensed game, we got Jaws Unleashed. I bought this at an electronics boutique at this big-ass mall in my area called Woodfield. It's one of the biggest malls in the country. When my relatives from Italy were visiting, there was like, how many of them? 4 of them came to visit. And we were taking them all around. They wanted to go shopping, so we took them to Woodfield because that's the place you go. And while I was there, I was like, hey, I'm going to go and check out the video game store upstairs. And I walked in and I saw this and I was like, I'm buying the shit out of it. And my cousin Franco, who was a comic book artist, was like, what'd you buy? And I showed him this and he was just like, oh my God, that looks terrible. Can we play it when we get back to your place? And I was like, yeah, sure. This game is super fun. It uses the engine that was created for Echo the Dolphin on the Dreamcast. And you swap out the dolphin for a great white shark, and you kind of have missions that you need to do. Like, oh, go over here and take out like this pod of orcas, or go over here and take out this boat. But like there's one point. This shows you how this is where I fell in love with the game. Was you get captured at one point and you're like in this oceanic lab. You have to jump out of the water, grab one of the scientists like he was in a lab coat in your mouth, but don't eat him. You need to hold him in your mouth and then take him past a card swipe machine that's like above the water. You have to like jump out and like have him go past the card swiping machine to open a door that lets you escape. That's a thing. And I was like, I absolutely love this game. This is the cheese. This is like the video game equivalent of Sharknado. It is so awesome. It is so cheesy and silly, but I absolutely love it. So much fun. I wish there were more games in that series. I wish we got a bunch of those types, but I guess it didn't sell very well. But yes, Maneater is awesome. I played one of the only games I've ever platinumed. Actually, I didn't platinum it. I got the full gamer score on the Xbox. I played it on the Xbox One, and I got every single, like I 100% of the game and got the I don't know what they're called. They're not trophies. Like the gamer score. I got the full gamer score, I guess. Classic, we got the sequel, Jet Set Radio Future. This is the sequel to the Dreamcast game. It still makes me laugh that Sega made a sequel to a Dreamcast game on the Xbox and made it an exclusive for the Xbox. Guys, I'm feeling that vodka. Woohoo! You see, I'm starting to get a little, like, I'm not stuttering as much. But 3D action rollerblading beat 'em up type game with some tagging mini games. Super awesome. Great soundtrack too. I love the art style. This is one of those first games that ever had the cel shaded look to it. I thought that was really interesting and beautiful. And I love the angular graphic style of the characters. Like they look like drawings, kind of. They look like art themselves. And like I said, it's got a banging soundtrack and it's super fun. and the controls are a dream. I absolutely love this franchise, and I guess that didn't sell well enough to get a third game, so that was a bummer. Oh, boy. No, don't go into the light. Okay. Picked this one up at the exchange down the street. Didn't know this even existed, but it's a licensed game because me. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, I don't care if this game is terrible. I need it. I need it right freaking now. So I asked the clerk, because everything at the exchange is behind glass. So the walls are just lined with glass cases. You have to ask somebody to open it up for you to see if there's a manual in the case. If you want to look at the art on the back, see what the screenshots are and all that. So I was like, I want to see that game right there. The guy hands it to me and I look at it and I went, are they? Oh, Sega GT, yeah. I'm making dinner for my son and his wife. It's his 30th. What are you talking about? 30th birthday? Is that an in-joke or something I'm missing? Anyway, we're talking Judge Dredd, Dredd versus Death. I saw Judge Dredd on the spine, and I was like, let me take a look at that thing. And he handed it to me, and I looked at it. I'm like, first-person shooter, Judge Dredd, multiplayer. I was like, I don't care. I think it was $15. It's like, just give it to me. I don't care. Just give it to me. I'm taking it home. It's going to be mine. And it's not the greatest, but it has atmosphere. It definitely has the flavor of the comic books. It feels like the comic books. It is ultra violent. And it's a first-person freaking shooter where you're playing as Judge Goddamn Dredd. Hells to the yes. It's like I said, it's not the greatest thing ever, but it is definitely worth owning and playing if you're a Judge Dredd fan, which I am. So, it's a song from Jet Red Fever. Oh, you know how long it's been since I played that? The only song I remember from the game is that one by Professional Murder Music. I think it was called Darker because it was kind of industrial. That's the only song I remember from that game. Next up, we have Justice League Heroes. This was a multi-plat, so naturally I went for the Xbox version. And this is a beat-em-up where you play as all the main characters from the Justice League. Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, The Flash. It's okay. The graphics are kind of look like a PlayStation 2 game masquerading as an Xbox game. They're kind of like bulky looking, but the edges aren't smoothed over. So it kind of has like an upgraded PS1 game look to it, if that makes sense. It's not bad. The control's fine, and it's like a beat 'em up, but the view is kind of top down, so it kind of has the look of a dungeon crawler, but it isn't a dungeon crawler. It's weird, but I enjoy it. It's okay, and I love DC, so had to have that. This one is freaking awful, and I should have known better, but I got it dirt cheap, so I didn't care, and that is Kabuki Warriors. I was like, oh, cool, like samurai-ish type fighting game. Cool, I love, what's it called? Bushido Blade on the PlayStation 1. It'd be cool to play a game like that, in that style. And I'd never looked at the back. And then when I got home, I was putting everything in my app on my phone, and I looked at that, and I was like, wow. That looks like that shitty, what was it, Shadow War of Succession on the 3DO? It looks like that for the Xbox. That looks like the cheapest looking fighting game you'll ever see. Like even the backgrounds in every picture is exactly the same. It's like you have one location. Yeah, I made a mistake, but it was cheap, and I don't care. It is terrible. It controls like ass. Nah. This one's not too great either. It looks great. It's a cool idea, but in the end, it's not the greatest. And that is Kakuto Chojin, Back Alley Brutal. I don't think Back Alley Brutal is actually like the subtitle. I think it's just the tagline. But it's a one-on-one fighting game, and it has like gigantic characters, and it was supposed to have like this really cool roster and move set and all that kind of stuff. And it has 1 to 4 multiplayer. So you're able to have 4 people in the ring at the same time. It's just that it controls like ass. It's like trying to be Tekken. It's trying to be like edgy Tekken, But, the thing that has kept Tekken alive all these years is that I guess the controls are really great for people who like that style of game. I'm not one of them, but I get it. Like, some people like that tactical, timing-based stuff. That's not me. And this game needed to have the controls tweaked to the point where it's almost as close to Tekken as you could possibly get, and it's not there. It's not even close to being there. Like, there's lag, and it's just not. And the moveset sucks. I mean, I remember they're talking about, like, these insane moves that your characters can do. It's like, nah, I've seen better in Dead or Alive. So, yeah, I was really disappointed. It's an exclusive for the Xbox. I never played this back in the day, so I got this when I got back into collecting, and I was like, I remember that. I should try that out. And I tried it, and I was like, yeah, I would have probably been mad if I paid $50 or $60 for it back in the day. He is one of the reasons. He's the only character I play as when I play Tekken. Starting with what? It was Tekken 3 was the first game he was in, I think. So, you know me, I love my fighting games by SNK, and I came across this King of Fighters 2003, King of Fighters 2002 double pack. And I was not going to pass that up. I do believe I have both of these games on the PS4, but I do like this double pack thing that has two of those King of the Fighter games on it. And I love King of the Fighters. It's all of the SNK franchises coming together. Well, at least most of them coming together to fight. I mean, it's a fighting game, of course. And they're cool. I like them a lot. I have not spent a lot of time playing this one, but I have definitely spent a lot of time playing the franchise in general. I still need to get the brand new one that came out within the last year. But yeah, super cool to have that. I'm not sure if that's the one that's worth a lot of money or not. I don't know. And then we've got the Kingdom Under Fire games. Kingdom Under Fire: The Crusaders and Kingdom Under Fire Heroes. I have not spent a lot of time playing these. I don't remember if these are like Musou style games or if they're straight up RPGs. Battle on an unprecedented scale against the Dark Legions in an epic quest to control the ancient heart, an artifact of untold power. Carefully craft your skills and strategies as you assemble an army from more than 30 unit types. Engage your enemies in an all-out clash of arms amidst a sprawling battlefield raging with medieval fury. Whatever. And these are online, too. I remember people saying that the graphics were freaking insane. And I think there's a third game in this series that came out for like the 360, but like the game has like a glitch that breaks the game at the end and you can't actually beat it. I hope you have a gigantic 42-button controller for this. But I remember I found both of these at the same time, and I think I paid like $5 for each of them. But I remember hearing about them back in the day, and I always wanted to play them. Just wish I had a working Xbox so I could. Found this randomly. LA Rush. It's another one of those like San Francisco Rush games. This one is, I think, the first one that just was developed for the console. It was not a port of an arcade game, but it's arcadey racing. Lots of hidden paths, different vehicles. It's kind of like extreme, kind of like over-the-top style racing stuff. And it's a lot of lowriders, as you can probably see. But I love this franchise. My favorite is still Rush 2049. That's the one that I love. I can play that any day of the week, all day. And since I'm off tomorrow, I just might. This one, I know. Okay. Another licensed game, and I know that this game is absolute trash because I bought it back in the day because of the license it is, because I love the movie that this game is based on. Yeah, 2049 is my fave. Yep, there's a Rush game on Xbox. Like I said, I think this was developed specifically for the consoles and wasn't a port of an arcade game. And it was absolute trash. It's a first-person shooter, and me and my first-person shooters, especially when it's based on a license that I love, I was like, yes, give it to me. And then I played it, and I was like, did this take like a week to make? Did they spend a week on this? Because it looks it plays like it sounds like it. It is like the cheapest, jankiest, like cash-in you'll ever play in your life. But I wanted to have it in my collection now because I did sell it pretty much after I bought it. I bought it, played it for like a day, and then sold it to, I think, back to Funkoland or EB Games or whatever the fuck it was. But it's a piece of shit. But I wanted to have it in my collection because how many games are there out there based on this license? And it's Land of the Dead, Road to Fiddler's Green. This is based on the fourth George Romero Living Dead movies. I love the movie. The movie I thought was absolutely fantastic. So I was like super on board with the game. And then when I saw that it was going to be a first-person shooter where you're taking on zombies, which at the time, the only games that were doing stuff like that was like House of the Dead. So I was like, give it to me. I want it right now. And then like I said, I played it for a day and I was like, this game is beyond broken. It looks like a shovelware game that somebody made in their basement. It was just the worst freaking thing ever. And it just sucked. But I wanted to have it because how many games do we have based on Night of the Living Dead? I think this is the only one. So had to have it. Plus I paid like $3 for it. Is the SpongeBob game that bad? I never played any SpongeBob game because I've never watched the cartoon. That was like out of my age range, I guess. Next up I talked about the other games in this franchise, Legacy of Kain Defiance. This is the final game in the franchise. This is the 5th game in the series. So you have the original Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, and then you had the 2 Soul Reaver games, then you had Blood Omen 2, and then this is where the 2 characters, Kain and Raziel together, and it is pretty awesome. I wish we had more games, maybe not featuring these 2 characters, but like more games that take place in the world of the Legacy of Kain series. I thought it would have been absolutely fantastic, but that never happened because, I don't know, maybe this one undersold. We got 5 games in this series that started on the original PlayStation. I don't see why. Maybe this one just did not. Maybe people weren't aware of it. I don't know. But it is a 3D action / beat 'em up / like RPG light kind of thing. And it is amazing. I absolutely love it. The story is fantastic. And I need to play through all these games again. When am I going to find time to do so? I do not know. We were talking about this earlier when I brought up the guy game. Leisure Suit Larry, magna cum laude. Ooh, dirty jokes with boobs. I played the original Leisure Suit Larry game on my computer, and I remember I actually brought it to school and played it in my study hall, and the teacher that was on supervisor duty in that study hall was watching it, and it's the first thing you do in the game is you go into that bar, you pick up that girl, you go upstairs to her apartment, and you bang, and you see that little censored bar going up and down when you're banging, and she's watching over my shoulder like, what is this? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's like a word game. She's like, oh, okay. Didn't know what the hell it was, but I was playing a like meet cute like computer game in school. I have not played this one yet. I picked this one up last summer when I was hanging out with Tiger Chainsaw and Captain Algebra and Rocket Sauce in Wisconsin. We went shopping around. I think it was when I went up there for my birthday, and I found this at Gaming Generations. And I was like, I'm not passing that up. That looks pretty rad. I love the franchise because of my memories of playing the original. So had to have this. I do have another game in the franchise for some other console. I don't remember which one. Boobs. And of course, Lord of the Rings, because I got to have this. I was not aware of this one back in the day. I did not know that there was a game based on Fellowship of the Rings. I knew that we had the games based on Two Towers and Return of the King because those are based on the movies. This is based on the book. And I don't know if somebody decided to license the book after the movie came out and make this based on the novel instead of having to pay New Line the rights for the movie character license or likenesses and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how it happened, but yeah, we have one based on the novel and 2 games based on the movies instead of the books. But this one is less of a beat 'em up, I do believe, and more of an adventure game. I have not spent a lot of time playing it, so I really can't comment. I checked it out just to make sure it worked when I got it home, and that was about it. Oh, and what is this? Peregrine Pippin Took concept art card came inside of this. That's what their concept art of what Pippin should look like based on his description in the novel. That's cool. But yeah, I have all of the Lord of the Rings games. I have this, The Hobbit. I have the 2 games based on the movies, which you are going to see right now. So we got Return of the King and the Two Towers. Two Towers is part 2. Return of the King is part 3. You all know this. And these have the official seal holographic stickers on them to prove that they're official Lord of the Rings merch, which this does not have, even though it says on their official game at the bottom. This one, that obviously came out before these. And they are beat-em-ups based on the movies and scenes from the movies And the thing about the first one is you can choose between the characters you play as. You have 3 characters to play as for most of it. You have Aragorn, you have Gimli, and you have Legolas. And what I was doing was the levels themselves aren't that long. It's like you play like a section. It's like, okay, you're in the Mines of Moria. You're in that one room where the orc or the troll or whatever they let loose in that one room. And then that's that stage. And then the next stage is you out running out somewhere or whatever. And that thing lasts for about 3 minutes. It's like broken up a lot, like a little short little stages. And you can go, and depending on which character you picked, you can unlock that stage to be able to be played through with other characters. And you can complete all the stages with all the characters. I think you get a special ending or something. So what I was doing when I got back into collecting again, when I was playing this, was I would play the stage, beat the stage, and then go back and play it again with another character, go back and play it again with the other character, and then have all 3 characters complete it, and then keep on doing that over and over and over and over and over. And it's a really fun game. I really like it a lot. Johnny Millennium, the Happy Console Gamer, this is like one of his most hated games ever. Like, he thought this was the worst thing he had ever played. Like, he was super excited that they were getting these games based on these movies that he loved. And he's like, these games are freaking terrible. Like, they controlled like... I loved it. I thought it was super fun. And then we got more of the same, but this one is more evolved. Like, now you can play as Gandalf. I think he plays everybody. 9 characters. Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Sam, Frodo. They don't have all of them listed. I guess you unlock a bunch of them, too. I've never beaten this one. But it is super fun. The graphics are fantastic. It plays great. I absolutely love this one, too, but I need to play through it from beginning to end. Love it. Boobs. And that led me to getting a copy of Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. This one came out like after the movies were done because, Electronic Arts, they had the license. It's just sitting there. Now they didn't have games to make based on movies. There were no movies to make being made anymore at that point, but they still have the license. We got to find some way to milk this and get more money out of it because they probably forked up a fortune for it. We'll make an RPG. And you can see this one's got the holographic sticker also. And that's exactly what this is. It's like an RPG that takes place in the world of Middle-earth, which is kind of awesome to me. I really want to play this. If I had my frickin' Xbox working, I would have definitely added that to my list of RPGs I wanted to play this year, which I'm probably never going to get to. I'll probably beat 1 this year. Watch. Mark my words. Next up, we have Magic the Gathering Battlegrounds. I played Magic a little bit. I played it for, I want to say, 6 months back in the it was probably like the late 2000s. One of my friends got me into it. And I thought it was pretty cool. And then I got into more of the board game side of things and started playing stuff like Ascension, which is like Magic in reverse. And I thought that was more fun. So I got rid of all my Magic stuff. So when I saw this at that disc replay place I used to go to all the time, Lord of the Rings RPG, oh no. Gaffman soon, I just caught the vapors. This one I thought would be more of like, card game battling, because like there is a card battling Magic the Gathering game that I was playing on my freaking 360. Was it my 360 or my PS4? One of those. There was a Magic the Gathering game that I was playing there that was all about the card game. This one is more like an RPG that uses like the characters and stuff from the cards. Weird. Have not played it, but I've heard that it is not that bad. So, yeah. Enter an epic battleground, an arena from the mythical world of Magic the Gathering, where one-on-one fighting requires a menacing combination of strength and sorcery. Summon barbaric creatures, hurl lightning, fast spells, scorch the landscape with a blistering flurry of combat. 16 fighting arenas, 70 different spells. You play this over Xbox Live. 60 single-player quests. Okay. All right, then we got this. So last time I talked about Enter the Matrix and how I think that game is very underrated. I think it got a lot of crap because, it was probably rushed out to meet the deadline that the Wachowskis had set up because they were trying to do the whole multimedia thing to advertise The Matrix Reloaded. They had the Animatrix. They had the Matrix comics. They had the video game. All that kind of stuff. They're trying to get you from all angles interested in this franchise. Get oversaturate the market. And they probably rushed that game a little bit, but I still had fun. I love the lore of the Matrix films, and that game added a lot to it. It's like a side story for that was taking place during Matrix Reloaded, and I thought it was fascinating. I love the story. The gameplay is fine. I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun playing it, and I played it twice. When this came out, I was like, give it to me now. I absolutely need it because I love the Matrix. And I played through it, and as I was playing through it, I'm like, why are they changing things? Because this is supposed to be the story. It's the path of Neo. It's supposed to be the story of the movie, or all three of the movies at this point, and all three of them had come out from the point of view of Neo, and doesn't worry about any of the other characters. But they changed things in the story in order to make it work as a video game, which I thought was stupid. So, excuse me, I expected there to be padding. You do a couple of those training sessions inside the little, waiting room Matrix thing that they train Neo in, where he fought Morpheus inside that little dojo hut thing. There's stuff like that where you have sparring matches against other characters like Trinity and whatnot. But for example, when Neo is in his office at the beginning and he gets the call from Morpheus to say, hey, they're coming for you. Listen to me, and I'll help get you out of the building. He ends up getting captured by the agents because he has to crawl out on a window, and he's like, I don't want to fall to my death. The hell with it, I'd rather get arrested. In the game, he actually gets away and gets to Trinity and gets on her motorcycle and drives away. I'm like, what? I thought this was supposed to be the adaptation of the films, the trilogy. No. And then the ending happens and it stops. The game just stops. You get to the point where Neo is fighting Smith at the end of Matrix Revolutions, and the game just stops. And all of a sudden you see these digital versions of the Wachowskis talking. And they're like, yeah, we felt we had to change the ending of the movie in the game form in order to make it playable because, the way the movie ends, we couldn't have the game end like that. We had to give you something to do. So we changed the ending. We hope you like it. Bye. And you have this weird boss battle with this Agent Smith made out of stone. And Neo lives at the end. And it's what? And it just completely ruined. I was like, no, I beat it. I didn't care. I was like, F this game. I was like, this is what everybody was complaining about when it comes to the Matrix or Enter the Matrix. And it should be reserved for this one because this one is pretty awful. It controls. It's just as janky, even though they had more time to develop this than they did Enter the Matrix. This one feels even jankier. And no. I love Enter the Matrix. That is a piece of crap. But I had to have it because I love the franchise and I wanted to have any collectible I can possibly get. And the video games are easy ones to get. But just that one is a piece of shit. I thought it was really cool that you were going into that little training area inside the little, not the outer Matrix, but the inner Matrix that the rebels had. And all of a sudden you're fighting a bunch of samurais, and it was to get your sword fighting skills, to teach you how to sword fight. I'm like, that stuff's cool. That's the stuff I expected they'd been put in there for filler. But then when it came to them actually telling or retelling the story of the films, they just kept changing stupid crap for the sake of it, just to make it work for a video game. I don't care. You got captured in the movie. You're supposed to be telling the movie in game form. Just have them get captured. Who cares? I don't know. I didn't make the game. I don't care. Now we got Max Payne, another one of the system sellers for me. I bought a PC in early 2001, my first PC that I ever owned. And I wanted it, there was games that were available on the PC that I absolutely had to have. And one of them was Max Payne. But for some reason, I could not install it on my computer. I needed some weird version of DirectX or something that I could not get I don't know if it was an old version of it or something. And just did not want to run on my newer computer. So I couldn't play it on my PC, which pissed me off to no end. So next thing I was like, oh, they're coming out for the Xbox and the PlayStation 2. I'll get it there. So I picked up a copy of the original Max Payne, and I played the crap out of it. Oh my god. Super awesome third person, like neo-noir type of thing, where like you got like the grizzled detective telling the story, like, and he's using like really strange words and phrases, like weird descriptors, like, oh, the night was deep and sultry kind of stuff. It's really kind of like a little trying too hard to create atmosphere, but it's really, really cool. The story is awesome. The gameplay is awesome. You have like bullet time. You can like slow down time while you're doing like a John Woo style leap with 2 guns in your hands to take out bad guys. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's a fantastic game. And then we had the sequel, which I think is just as good as the original. The graphics are a little bit better and the play control is just a little bit better, but I love both of these together. They are fantastic. Awesome, awesome games. When you're running around on like the path of blood while you hear the baby crying in the background. Yeah, some of that stuff, my brother, like I had a lock on my door. Those came out when I was still living with my parents. My brother was living there too. And like he was forbidden from going into my room because my brother had zero respect for other people's property. Like he would go into my room when I was like at work or whatever and just like take my stuff and not let me know. Then he would lose it or ruin it or whatever. So like I absolutely forbade him from touching it. I'm spending good money that I'm working to earn. You know, the money that I earned at work, I'm spending on these things. I would like to have it when I come back from work, you know, kind of thing. And he just didn't care. He'd loan my stuff to people, and I almost beat his ass one day for doing that. And like, so I bought a lock and put it on my door. The bastard learned how to pick it. Like he was a real son of a bitch back then. So like one day I came in from work and my door is closed and locked, but I can hear stuff going on in my room. So I use my key, open the door. My brother's sitting in my room on my couch playing Max Payne 2. He's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, what the F are you doing? Like I scream, what the F are you doing in here? I wanted to play some Max Payne. I'm like, you know, you are not allowed in here. And I grabbed him by his freaking ear like an old man and threw him out of my room. Oh my God, he used to drive me nuts. But just so we could play those games, because he's not a video game person, but like the noir aspect of these games like really got him interested, and he wanted to play them all the time. Not too sure about this one. I found this at Video Games Then and Now, my new retro store, and it was like $3 or $4, and I did not know anything about it, but it looks like it's a fake movie in a video game, and it's called Maximum Chase, and you can see it looks like, you know, a weird movie poster, like a really cheap direct-to-video movie poster, but you look at the back, and there's like film reels and stuff like that, you know, film stock, and it's like you're in a movie, but you're playing, like you're directing. So Maximum Chase puts you behind the wheel of Hollywood-inspired chases and on the trigger of fierce shootouts. Power slide your way through adrenaline-fueled chases and officially licensed vehicles that feature realistic damage, then shoot out tires, aim for the explosive drums, and take out pursuing helicopters as the sharpshooter in high-speed firefights. Unlock additional vehicles and weapons as you complete stages. Replay any run to see amazing highlights, and they play it like a movie. Can you stop the sinister plot to destroy Los Angeles? So it looked interesting. It was kind of reminding me of Driver, because Driver's got that director's mode. So I picked it up, and it's all right. It's definitely like a budget game, though. And now he's deaf in that ear. He's lucky that he still had that ear attached to his body. I was so mad. You have no idea. Like I have a real issue about like I don't loan my stuff out. I don't let people borrow my stuff. Like I just loaned a video or a movie of mine to my buddy Jeremiah that I do my podcast with, and I was kind of like, do I? Don't I? But Jeremiah's kind of like a trustworthy dude, so I was like, okay, I think it'll be okay. But like I do not like loaning my stuff out. Every time I do, people forget to bring the stuff back. I just have, it's a thing of mine. I don't do it. Next up, we have the Mech Assault games. These were exclusive to the Xbox, and these are based on, what is it, like Mech? Was it Mech Warrior? Like these are like Mech Warrior licensed, I guess, or Mech Warrior adjacent. I don't know, but they're by FASA, who does Mech Warrior. But Mech Assault is a 3D mech like shooter game, which is super, super fun. My buddy Charlie, who Epic Die Studio, if he's in the chat, I remember he used to play this all the time. This was like, I think he was this and Halo that he was always playing, and he absolutely loved it. And this in Crimson. What is it? Not Crimson Skies. Oh God, the airplane one that's also based on like a fossil license. I talked about it last week. Shit. Crimson Skies? Yeah. I can't think of the name all of a sudden. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, but yeah, it's super awesome. Vasa stole designs from Macross. But yeah, I remember he was always playing this, and I had a blast playing it too. It's online. Crimson Skies, yeah. And then we've got the limited edition of Part 2, Lone Wolf, which is more of the same, but definitely better graphics and everything. And I do believe this one had the better online play because they had like a year to develop it. But yeah, this one has 2 discs. It's a 2-disc type game. Is it really that bad? Oh, because it features a demo of Forza 2.0. Forza Motorsport. Okay, whatever. And it has licensed music from Korn and Papa Roach. Wow. How early 2000s could you get? But this one has like a foil cover, which is pretty awesome. I never played that one all that much. Yes, I know, Crimson Skies. I just couldn't remember the name. I played that. I was actually playing that on my Xbox One. That was one of those games that got upscaled if you played on your Xbox One, which is pretty cool. The definitive Medal of Honor game, as far as I'm concerned, and that is Frontline. This is the one that has the D-Day invasion at the start. Holy crap, is it brutal and really sets you up for this game. This is the only one that ever got a remake, like a remaster, because I had a remaster of this on my PS3. That was pretty awesome. But yeah, first-person shooter. I think this is like the 3rd game in the series. There was Medal of Honor Underground on the PS1, and then this was like the next one I do believe that they made. So this is the 3rd game in the franchise. And this is probably my favorite one out of all of them. First-person World War II shooter, absolutely fantastic. It has the best musical score, too. Michael Giacchino, who does the music for all the J.J. Abrams stuff, did the music for the Star Trek reboots, the new Jurassic World movies, Doctor Strange, and all that. You got to start doing video game music for Steven Spielberg for DreamWorks video games, and he did the music for all the Medal of Honor games. And the Medal of Honor Frontline theme, which I think is called Operation Market Gardens. When I saw the Video Games Live concert back in like 2009, I think that was, they played that piece of music, that Operation Market Gardens, live at the concert, and I almost cried. It is such a great piece of music. Like it just, and the footage they were showing on screen at the time, man, it hit me in the feels. We got Medal of Honor Rising Sun. This is during World War II, but it's during like the Pearl Harbor bombing. It's okay. It's not nearly as good as Frontline, but you can tell at this point I gave them credit for like trying to show different parts of World War II instead of just like, oh, you're on the front line kind of thing, and showing stuff like Pearl Harbor and all that was pretty awesome. But like this franchise was starting to get kind of stale. Now we have Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction. My buddy Justin bought this and he played this for months. Like he was playing it a lot. I mean, he was talking about it all the time. And then he made me want to play it, so I picked up a copy of it. And it's an open world game, and I did not like. It was probably the reason why I stopped playing the original Grand Theft Auto games. Like the open world thing, like I just did not like it back then. Like it was a totally new genre. We weren't like Grand Theft Auto 3, I think, was the first big open world game we had. And I don't know if it was just the fact that I could go anywhere and do anything I wanted that kind of scared me. Like I liked my shit linear, and I just didn't like it. Now I love it. Like I absolutely embrace that genre now. But back then it kind of like I was not feeling it. So he embraced the genre with this, and then I bought it and I played it for like a day, and I was just like, nope, no, and I hated it. And I told him I did not like it. And he was just kind of looking at me like, I don't get you. Who are you? Kind of thing. Now I get it. Now I like the genre. So I definitely would probably enjoy this more than I did back then. And there's even a sequel on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. But open world, like mercenary game where you get like missions and you got to go bomb certain things, go and do like escort stuff, all the typical open world stuff from back then when the genre was technically new. Metal Arms glitch in the system. This was like one of those games that everyone was talking about. It was like one of the hidden gems that like everybody loved, but nobody was buying kind of thing. And I never played it much. I think I bought it and played it for like a day, and I was like, cool, I like it. but I still got this other thing I want to play. I'm going to play that, and I'll come back to it. You know me. Like I say, I'm going to come back to it, and I just never do. But yeah, it's a 3D mech game. I guess it's like a platformer. I know it's got like an arena mode, but that's for like the multiplayer. Dismantling the enemy one bolt at a time. Blast your way to victory as Glitch, the gunslinging half-ton fearless bot of Droid City, found a scrap metal but transformed into destructive machinery. Glitch is determined to free his people from the evil clutches of General Corrosive and his maniacal army of Millbots. Unleash a world of pain as you annihilate the General's sinister plan to dominate the world and salvage the robot race. Showa. And you can see like down below, they have like this list of like weapons that you can possibly get. But I'll be damned if I can actually read that. I need some quadfocals to read that crap. But everyone was talking about it because no one was playing it. But and then we got this. We just got announced that we're getting like ports of this to the current consoles. Sure, why not? They're not getting upgrades at all. Just we're getting ports. Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. So this is Metal Gear Solid 2 Remix. So it's got a little bit of a graphical upgrade because now you're on the Xbox and you're able to play this in HD. And it does say that this goes up to 480p. All right, sure. It's Dolby Digital, though. Ew. But like things have been moved around and there's like new collectibles and stuff that have been added into it. So you're still playing the Metal Gear Solid 2. You're still playing that game. It's just now things have been shuffled around a little bit, kind of like what was the one I was talking about? Genma Onimusha. Like things have just been shuffled around a little bit, like it's just a remix. Sure, why not? And then there was a third one based on the third game that was called Subsistence. Was that even a word? The list of weapons looks like it slapped it on the day before it went to print. This is the definition of a license game, or a Diamond in the Rough license game. How about that? Nobody bought this. This sold like crap. My buddy Justin that I was talking about that was playing that Mercenaries game, this was another game where he was like, I bought it because I loved the movie it's based on, and it sounded like it could be a cool idea for a game. The game is fantastic. Nobody gives a crap, and it got terrible reviews. But the game is actually pretty awesome. That is Minority Report, Everybody Runs. Like, I was a huge fan of the movie. I saw it with my buddy Justin. We absolutely loved it. And naturally, I thought it would have made for a terrific video game. This came out like a year, I think like a year after the movie did. Features music by the Apex Theory, whatever. It's a 3D action beat 'em up kind of thing where you're playing as one of the pre-crime cops. I don't think you're playing, if I remember right, you're not playing as the one from the movie. It's just like you're playing as another pre-crime cop and there's another big conspiracy going on. I've never actually beaten it, but it is super fun. And you have like all the different abilities from the movie. Like you have the thing with like changing your face and all that. And like being able to hold your breath underwater and all that kind of shit. It's pretty cool. It's just that license game back in the day equaled poison. Nobody wanted to play it. Nobody wanted to try it. I'm pretty sure the gaming magazines, when they would see one show up in their little mailbox, would be like, ugh. But it's really, really fun. I liked it a lot. And you get like that flying backpack thing that the jetpack that the cops had that they were using to chase Tom Cruise with. It's pretty cool. No, don't trip. Don't trip. Craptastic. Anyway, next up we have the trilogy of awesome. Well, maybe not. So, Mortal Kombat. Y'all, you know how much I love my Mortal Kombat. So, when Mortal Kombat 4, I guess, kind of failed, when arcades were dying, what does Midway do? They have this franchise that sells copies. You know, I'm pretty sure the copies of Mortal Kombat 4 on the home consoles did better than the arcade game did. So that, like, at one point, like when arcades started dying, you know, the guys who ended up being NetherRealm Studios were like, we need to like continue the franchise, but we need to just make it console only. So they did. So we got Mortal Kombat 5, Deadly Alliance. And when I first bought this, like I bought it day one, obviously, and I I liked it at first, but the more I played it, the more I was just kind of like, I'm not sure. Because the thing I didn't like about Mortal Kombat 4 was I thought the 3D was incredibly janky. Like, I did not like the way it worked. I did not like having that 3D button the same way. I did not like having that run button. And I just did not like the characters. I didn't like the fatalities. I thought the fatalities, like from part 3 on, like the fatalities were just like silly instead of trying to be like graphic and shocking like they were in 1 and 2. Like, and what do we have in part 3? We have Jax growing super big, and you see his giant foot come down and stomp on somebody. It's just stupid. And that kind of carried over to here, where it was like stupid crap, like Movado shot like those hooks that he had under his sleeves into the ground around your character, took like 3 steps back and like did like an elastic slingshot, lifted up his legs, and spikes came out of his shoes, and he like kicks you in the face. Like, he slings towards you and kicks you in the face. Stupid. And I did not like the way the 3D worked in here. I was not a fan of a lot of the new characters like Cobra and all that. I was just like, nah. I like Nitara, but outside of that, I was not a big fan. So this I thought was like, I'm like, Mortal Kombat probably not going to be around much longer because I was not a fan. But then we got Deception, the part 6, and it was better, but it wasn't because of the core fighting game. It was because this started to introduce different modes. Oh, excuse me. This one did have online fighting, though. That's what I get for drinking soda. Collector's Edition includes additional disc with exclusive Arcade Perfect version. God damn, arcade version of Mortal Kombat 1. 25 character video, whatever. God, I can't read. What does that say? It has some sort of a card. Oh, a metallic card. Oh, it came with a metal character card, and I got the Scorpion one. This is actually metal. Hear me? Yeah, it's a metal card of Scorpion, and it comes with a second disc, and I don't know what this is. I'm not sure. Stop! Don't do that. But this is my original copy from back in the day that I bought, so that's why everything is still in here, because I did not take any of this stuff out. But this has all these different modes. It has chess combat, puzzle combat, which is essentially Tetris. Chess combat is chess with the Mortal Kombat characters, and it's kind of like playing battle chess. And then the thing that made this game worth owning was the Conquest mode, which was like the first Mortal Kombat story mode. You played as this character, I think his name was Shujinko, if I remember right, and you go through all of the like early lore of the Mortal Kombat universe. And you come across a lot of the characters, and you will have fights and all that. But for the most part, it's in the third person. You're running around all these different locations and like getting stories from people and end up having some fights. It was pretty cool. I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty rad. But the core fighting game itself, I still did not enjoy all that much. And then we got Armageddon, which is the final game for this generation. I think I'm just going to leave this light on so I can actually read. And this one was good, but this is the one where like the fatalities were like a joke. This is the one where like the company or the people that developed it could not be bothered to come up with fatalities. So they're like, you know what? We'll give you the choice to make your own fatality. So you do the finish him, or the finish him comes up when you're about to kill your opponent, and like you do a weird like you can do all these different button combinations, and your character will like, oh, I'll punch you in the stomach and pull out your kidney, and then I'll kick you in the knee and break it, the other way, and then I'll grab your arm and rip it off and smack you with it, and like you make your own fatality, and it sucked. I was like, this is bullshit. But this one had the I just said it, the story mode again. And this was the awesome one. This was the one where I played it. Like, I found every little nook and cranny, person you could talk to, hidden stuff. I played through it all. I absolutely loved it. But this one also has go-kart racing. So you got combat racing. Yeah, you have the enhanced combat mode. The stupid create a fatality crap. Create a fighter. 60 plus characters. And the big thing about this one was not only is it online, this has like every single character that's ever been in a Mortal Kombat game, plus stupid ones that were just made up like as a joke. They put them in here like mocap and meat and all that, like the ones that were like joke characters. They throw them in here plus some new ones. It was like the definitive Mortal Kombat game, but it was still that 3D style that I really did not like. So like I love the story mode, I love the conquest mode in here, but the fighting I just did not enjoy. So these 3 Mortal Kombat games, I would definitely, and Mortal Kombat 4, I would definitely put at the bottom of my list of like favorites, because I just do not like Mortal Kombat done in 3D. Like it needs to be 2D. Like they kept Street Fighter franchise for the most part, except for those EX games, in 2D the whole time. It should have stayed that way with Mortal Kombat 2, because that's when it played the best. Is that a hashtag? It is now in, I guess. What? Burp it up. Burp it up. But we would not have gotten Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks if it wasn't for those. And this is the best Mortal Kombat game in this generation, because it was kind of like the way they did Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero and Special Forces, where they decided to like, let's take Mortal Kombat and put it in a different genre. So Mortal Kombat Mythologies was it was still using the fighting engine of Mortal Kombat, but it was trying to do like a side-scrolling beat-em-up platformer. And then you had Special Forces, which was kind of like a top-down. It looked like a dungeon crawler, but it really wasn't. It was kind of like a beat-em-up mixed with loaded, and it just didn't work. This one is a 3D beat-em-up platformer that I think is absolutely fantastic. There's so many characters you can unlock, but you initially have the choice of playing with either Liu Kang or Kung Lao. Both fantastic. You start unlocking fatalities and special moves and all that kind of stuff. You start running into different characters from the Mortal Kombat universe. And it's like a side story that takes place like during part 2. And I thought that's my favorite Mortal Kombat game. So obviously I'm going to love anything that has to add on to the lore of that game. And you eventually can get like Scorpion and Baraka, I do believe, as hidden characters. But as a beat 'em up, it is absolutely fantastic. You all these hidden paths you can find with hidden items and all that. It is so good. Like, this is what a spin-off should be. And I wish we would get a Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks 2. I'm surprised we didn't, because if I remember correctly, this one sold like hotcakes. But I absolutely love it. My favorite game for this genre, or for this franchise in this generation, hands down. Played the shit out of it. Yeah, that was on the Deception. You see the Tetris one right here. Puzzle Combat. It's just Tetris. What does purple? I do not approve. And the last game I'm going to talk about today is a game I've never even played because it is still sealed. But I got this for $1 slim at one of those half-price books warehouse sales in Wisconsin. And I saw it sealed, and I was just like, I don't care. I'm going to buy it. But I loved the first game in this series, in this franchise, but I did not really enjoy the second one all that much because it just was not fun. And I never even bothered with this third one. But that is MTV Music Generator 3. This is the remix. And I'm not sure if this allows you to make your own tracks like you did in the original game and sort of in the second one, but just says remixing songs from the hottest names in hip-hop or building great tracks from scratch. I guess it does. Has never been so easy. Remix 10 of the hottest hip-hop and dance songs. Sample music from your favorite music CDs and add it to your track, because the Xbox will probably allow you to do that. Create original music for over 3,000 pro-quality drum, riff, bass, and vocal samples. Easy to use, intuitive interface, lets you create music with ease. Add a massive range of effects to your songs. All the power of a professional studio at your fingertips. You get to remix tracks from Snoop Dogg, Outkast, Sean Paul, Carl Cops, Fabulous. I can't read some of these. DJ Marks, Mike Coughlin, R4. 10 music styles: hip-hop, rap, dancehall, party, house, drum and bass, hard house, trance, breaks, and garage. So if I did have a working Xbox, I would probably give this a shot. But the thing that I liked about the original game was you could pop a CD into your PlayStation 1 and you could actually rip songs from, or pieces of music from tracks on the CD. It says you can do it here too, and obviously if you have the hard drive in the Xbox, it make it a hell of a lot easier than having to store it on a memory card, which those samples would take up the entire memory card, which kind of sucked. But how do you get it off the disc? I ended up buying the PC version and remaking my songs in the PC version, and then you could export an MP3. And that's how I got that to work. I ended up having to hook my PlayStation 1 when I was using that version up to my mini disc player, and I would record them off of the game instead of actually just exporting it, which kind of stank. But I mean, it worked. I did have an entire mini disc album of my own. I had 13 songs on a mini disc that I made with that thing. But I wonder if I'd even have the patience for that kind of thing nowadays. Back then, I had plenty of free time. I basically, I was living at home. I go to work. I come home. I had nothing to do. No responsibilities. No bills. Nothing like that. No real hobbies. I wasn't really doing film stuff back then. So, I had plenty of time to spare. So, I don't even know if I'd interest in that anymore. But that is it for this episode. That's another long one. Almost 2 hours of talking. I'm glad everybody showed up. Burp, a burp, a burp, burp, right up. I'll be back next Thursday with part 3 of 4 in this series, dealing with my Xbox collection. Another episode of the Tides of Flame is up on my Twitch channel, the newest one that we played last Friday. It's about a week old at this point. Pretty awesome. It ended up going in some cool directions. And we'll hopefully be playing again within the next month. I hope, because I would like to get all the combat stuff off my kitchen table. It's taking up the majority of it right now. You love the green cases. Ew. And is it next week? When is the end of the month? Tides of Flame, bros. Let me bring up the calendar. So, yeah, next Friday is the last day of the month. So I will definitely have so we'll be getting two days in a row where I'll be doing a live stream. So next Thursday will be episode 3 of the Xbox series live streams. And the following day will be my recent pickups live stream about everything I picked up during June. And there's going to be some cool stuff that I show off. A lot of stuff that I had ordered months ago, or sometimes in this case, 8 months ago, has started showing up this month. So I have a lot of really cool, interesting stuff to talk about. Some movies and video game stuff. It'll be pretty rad. I hope you'll enjoy it. So I'll be back next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central for part 3. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. Chris, the old ass retro gamer, out. Have a good night, everybody, and stay safe out there. Actually used that magic clip of Shia LaBeouf from SNL in the Tides of Flame episode that we did last week to kind of express the attitude of a specific character who was using magic, and that was how I said, "This is how he acts." It worked.